try to order and structure my videos, but this video will be just me talking. I had been thinking, like I always do, I guess. And I have had many thoughts because I was reading the logic of Hegel. The more I read the logic, the more I understand the world, myself, Hegel, God, maybe. And I'm kind of strange because there are moments when I'm conflicted. I mean, I'm always conflicted, but when I feel various emotions, so to speak, and in these moments sometimes I write what I said, but then when I read what I said, the mood has changed, but the written word has remained. So I will simply write what I thought about a couple of hours ago. I will praise God as long as I can, and there's a joke of mine which is getting old, maybe. I've said sometimes, I'm so full of God that I want to share Him with others, because there have been moments where I felt joy associated with the idea of God, and in these moments I have wanted to share this joy. But there's also suffering in God, and to share God with others also means to share suffering with others, to share tears and laughter, joy and suffering. I also wrote that the books that anyone is interested in are some sort of a revelation, an unconscious revelation of what this person is, or it's a part of himself being revealed in a book. I've written that we are attracted by certain things, and there are certain things that we find repulsive. And both attraction and repulsion reveal a part of the truth of who we are. And the person that you admire says or say a lot about you, a truth about you. A part of your own truth is who you have admired and who you still do admire. And from personal experience, I know that the man that I have admired the most as of now, the highest, I wouldn't say a feeling, thought, maybe, I don't know, the emotion or impression, I don't know, the highest sentiment or feeling of admiration that I have ever felt was for Hegel. Between February and June and 2018, my admiration for Hegel was enormous and intense, and I admired him so much, and he became my hero. And I wrote that I am not very different in my relationship to Hegel from the teenagers who try to look and speak and act and dress like their hero, a football player, a rapper, a rock star, a musician, whatever. The girls who want to look like their favorite pop star, the boys who want to look like their favorite rapper or their favorite football player or whatever. It's the child who unconsciously tries to imitate the adult, and in the teenage years it becomes more intense, but it still is the case in adulthood. Many adults try to imitate the person that they admire. And the man, as of now, that I have admired the most is Hegel. And there's a song that I have in mind, which was one of my favorite songs when I was a teenager, "When I'm Gone" by Eminem. What happens when karma turns around and bites you, and everything you stand for turns on you despite you? What happens when you become the main source of her pain? Yeah. And I've had various thoughts that I have already expressed about God and modern pop culture. And I keep thinking about the same movies or songs or artists, but every time my thoughts are more determined, one would say. And what I thought a couple hours ago is that Christopher Nolan is a genius. And I thought about the sentence in The Dark Knight, when the Joker says, "Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stranger." And I thought about God, and I said to myself, since God is kind of immortal, that maybe the reason why God is so strange, so difficult to understand, is because nothing can kill God. Maybe nothing, as the Buddhists envision it, is the death of God himself. But except from nothing, all the other things cannot kill God as a principle or a thought or whatever. And that's why he's so strange. But also he says that whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's also the reason why God is the strongest, maybe. And yeah. And I thought about Lady Gaga and Eminem again, but if people want to understand what God is, to have an illustration, just look at Eminem and Lady Gaga. Not one aspect of them, but the whole process of their development. That's the truth about Eminem and Lady Gaga. And both are geniuses. And this brings about the thought that I had about the question of genius. A genius can be for good, and many people admire geniuses. Shakespeare, Newton, Leonardo da Vinci, Einstein, Lionel Messi, maybe. Michael Jordan, LeBron, whatever. So most of the time we associate the idea of genius with something positive, something to be admired. But I said to myself that a real absolute genius, and in my view God could be defined as absolute genius, is beyond good and evil, good and bad. So it means that it's not bad, but it's not good either. It's just genius. And maybe at the highest level of I don't know how to define this, of definition of God, one could say that God is absolute genius. And there's a famous French sentence by Chateaubriand, the author of early 19th century, who talked about Blaise Pascal, the mathematician, philosopher, and Christian apologist of the 17th century, who died relatively early, who was a genius precisely. And Chateaubriand says about Pascal, he talks about l'effrayant génie de Pascal, which could be translated as the frightening genius of Pascal, the scary genius of Pascal, because Blaise Pascal was so brilliant intellectually. His IQ could not be measured by modern standards, of course, but if we had to approximate his IQ, he would have a very, very high IQ. He was very, very intelligent. And there's this idea that genius can be frightening. It can be worthy of being admired, but it can be frightening. It can be good, but it can be beyond all these categories. And when I say that Eminem and Lady Gaga are geniuses, there are frightening aspects in both these artists. There are dark, very dark aspects in Eminem. But Eminem is not just the very dark aspect, that's all the aspects. And that's why he's beyond darkness and suffering and partly evil, beyond laughter, beyond comedy, beyond lyrical brilliance, beyond the emotional aspect, beyond the strength, the charisma. He's beyond all this, and this beyond is what we can call genius. So yeah, Eminem has been controversial, polarizing, antagonizing, admired, worshipped, despised. He brought laughter, joy, hope, strength, and to many, but he caused negative emotions to many also. But he is and has been a tormented individual, and he has expressed his torment through his music. And yeah, the qualification, the determination that I have for Eminem, Lady Gaga, and even someone like Christopher Nolan, and for God himself, is genius. Yeah. So yeah. That's what I had to share.